Well, good morning everybody and welcome to a Sunday morning show in association with Golfing Days. We are here at Stover Golf Club. The next part of this reconstruction of their golf course is just about to get underway, and I thought I'd catch up with Jason Brooks, see how he's getting on with him and his team, see where we're at in the project, and get his opinion on how the project has been going. But before we do that, before we catch up with Jason, I'm just going to head up to Surrey with Joe the Pro because we're going on a little adventure. Let's go and see Joe. Well, Joe, the Pro.
Hello.
This is very cosy, isn't it?
Having a lovely time.
Having a good chat. We're on the M3 now. We're heading up to London. What are we doing, Joe? What are we going to London for?
I've had a few issues with, issues is harsh, but I've just not found a 3-wood I've been particularly comfortable with for a long time. So I've got, in a geeky way, I have to see, I'm very particular on what I look down on 3-woods, and most of my clubs are very, very upright, and I haven't found a 3-wood. I've been trying and buying a few bits and bobs and testing a few things out, and sometimes the loft feels good, but then it's lying too flat. Sometimes I get one that's upright enough, like I've got a Cobra thing that is upright enough for me, but the head's very small and it's very unforgiving. So when I'm on, it's great. When I'm not, I get some funny ones with it. So consumer-wise, you're at the mercy of what turns up when you order it. You don't know exact loft that's coming. You don't know exact lie angles and stuff like that. So there's a guy down here in Surrey at a place called Tee to Green Golf. He gets all of the old tour equipment. So from TaylorMade, I think he's got the contract with them that any excess product that they've had on tour van or tour department will go through to him, and all of those clubs are exactly measured, so you can see what you're buying. You can see their exact static lie, loft, face angle, CT. After weeks of messing around, ordering bits and bobs and hoping it's going to be alright, and nothing really fitting what I wanted it to do, I've decided to just bite the bullet, get down here, cherry pick a head that I know is going to do what I want it to do and look how I want it to look, and yeah, driving 3.5 hours to do so.
I'll tell you what is fascinating is, and I only see this when I go up to Woburn like I did last week, and I go into their kind of tour area, their tour van I call it, and you do see these loft and line machines that look at driver heads, look at fairway heads. These are things that you wouldn't necessarily find in a pro shop. From our loft and line machine, we can't do that. We can only do irons. So, and I'll be honest, before I went to Wentworth with Paul, I didn't even know you could bend a driver in a 3-wood head.
So there's not as many companies that offer a fixed or a glued hosel metal. TaylorMade still do, I think, in this. You've got Stealth Plus and Stealth. So I think Stealth is just a straight shaft that's glued into head. Most of them are adapters, so you can fiddle around with loft and lie and stuff on the adapters. But with the adapters, when you change one thing, something else is affected. So you put it to the loft you want, then the lie angle is also changing on a lot of them. I know Callaway operates independently to that. You can change loft and lie and stuff like that, but I've never really got on with Callaway fairway woods myself. So yeah, there's just so much more you can do, and if you know exactly what you're looking for and you're being very specific, then you've got to be fussy. You've got to go and find it, I think. Yeah, so that's where we're at today.
Looks closed, Joe. I did tell you it was locked, didn't I? Looks shut.
It's definitely open.
Here we go then, from tee to green.
Huh?
Quality second-hand golf equipment, bought and sold, part exchange available. Re-gripping whilst you wait. I didn't even know this place existed. Joe the Pro told me about it. I didn't even know you could get access to equipment from the tour vans. So some of the stuff that they're obviously clearing out old shafts, clearing out old heads. Well, we're going to find out a bit more about it when we finally get in this front door.
Hello mate, how you doing? You alright? Thanks buddy. Got it! Yeah, already that's better. Most consumer fairway woods will come out about 58 lie angle,
right,
which is flat for me. And my M2 Tour that I've got, whilst I love the shape of the head, love how deep it is, love the loft, it's like 57. So whenever I look at it, the toe's falling away, and I'll put what feels like a normal swing on it to me, and it's just popping out like always 10 yards right of where I'm envisaging it. So this base lie angle is at 60.4, so that's a couple of degrees more upright already, which is great for me, and it still has a low enough loft, because I like a strong 3-wood, because I hit a lot of 3-woods as old driver alternatives.
Yeah.
So to find one that's upright enough and with a low enough loft is quite difficult to do, hence why I've had to drive three and a bit hours to try and find it. But yeah, already sits, and I'm just putting it down here before it's even been
Gripped up
and installed properly. Sits very square. So yeah, face angle's 2.6 open, so that's really square for these, because they usually sit a lot more open than that. And because it's on a sleeve, I've got scope to play around with it. If I do want it a little bit more upright, I can start to use the upright side of the sleeve as well. So yeah, that's a promising start, Dan.
This is the strangest experience of retail I've ever had in my life. I mean, I don't even know where the local golf club would be around here in where are we? Banstead?
Banstead, yeah.
Banstead. Yeah, that is different.
Sorry about that. I mean, it's been an experience for you. You've driven a long way. Usually, when I've been here before, you can have a good mooch around, but he's having a bit of a nightmare, wasn't he? With
yeah. Head had gone. But what? Like, I feel like this has just fallen off the back of the lorry. Why? How is this?
Well, looking
club,
around, it may well have done, Dan.
How is this club? Like, why is it set in that position? Is it set? Do they come into the tour van with lots of different specs?
Yeah. So this is just the variance we've had. I think maybe alluded to it before. The variance between heads you get. I've done it at Celtic Manor and Precision Golf, where if you actually get them on a loft and line machine, which you have to get specific for woods.
Yeah.
They all sit at very different face angles. When it says 13.5, it might actually be 15, might be 12. You know, you can get 2-degree tolerances quite easily on these heads. This one's pretty close to. This one's at 13.8.
Yeah. 13.8, and it says 13.5 on the head.
Yeah. So the tour vans, as soon as they get them on, the first thing they'll do in the tour department is measure them up. Put a sticker on it, because if you know you're trying to get to 9 degrees of loft with a player who wants a 4-degree open face angle, you need to be able to cherry pick a head that's going to get you to that at a starting point. And like you say, the ones that don't have the adapters, that are just glued straight onto the shaft, as you saw with Paul at Wentworth, TaylorMade for example have moulds of these heads where you clamp them in a mould, heat here, and then you can just bend them to the line angle that you need. It's a risky process, because there's about a 50% failure rate with it, where they just snap them. But if you've got enough heads, you're not too worried about it. But yeah, that's how the tour vans do it. They cherry pick the heads that they know are the right lie and loft, etc., for what they want. And yeah.
What an experience this has been. I never knew this side of golf existed, and it does.
It's like the dark web of golf, this is. Welcome.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. What is that hole there that is actually a hole?
Yeah, that is a hot melt port. So what they do sometimes on tour to get the right CG location, so some people, well, I'll go into what it is first. So hot melt glue gun goes in there, sometimes they call it rack glue, inject a certain amount of weight, so generally speaking on the tour vans, one squirt's about 4 grams of hot melt. Liquid glue goes in really hot, you then move the head to where you want it, so if you want to increase the MOI and spin, maybe you'll lean the head back so the hot melt goes back and centre, or if you want it back heel or wherever you want to put it in the head, you can move it around to affect that CG location without kind of peppering it with lead tape, and then this gets closed up so nothing can get in the head. But yeah, it's just another way of fine-tuning a head. Sometimes they do it just for sound. Some people don't like a ting or a really tinny sound, so rack glue in the head diminishes the sound, softens makes it more of a thuddy sort of a noise, and sound very much is feel. So yeah, people think it makes it feel different. It actually just makes it sound different, which in turn makes it feel different. So yeah, just another way of really customizing and dialing into what someone wants in the head. You can do it to create fade and draw bias as well. Similar when you see adjustable weights on the back, it's basically an internal version of that. So you can move a load of weight to the toe, for example, if you want to slow that toe down and take left out of the equation. So yeah, just another customization option. Yeah.
Reggie, hello, star of the show, Jason Brooks in the house. Are we ready to go yet?
Well, we had a soft opening, you'd call it, today. So we had 30 odd people who've been part of the project from the interim, and the current green staff and committee members all sort of had a 4-hole game of golf today with ourselves just to see how it was, a little road test.
So if you haven't checked out the previous videos, I'm going to pop a little link down in the description of this video, it might be popping up there as well, which is showing the process of what's kind of gone on. Jason explaining what's happened here at Stover Golf Club, and now the new build of these 4 holes.
It's 4.5 holes been reconstructed in this.
Ah, that's right. 4.5 holes been reconstructed. You've got the first green up there, then you come down the second, third, fourth, and par 5 fifth. I'm just going to pop a little bit of drone footage up, just sharing with you the process of how it's kind of got to this point, and then we'll carry on the story as we go with Jason. From the moment this started to where we've got to right now, how long's this project been to this point?
Very first dig, and that was last year in March.
Okay.
However, the project was discussed in 2012.
Right,
That's
okay.
how long it sort of dragged on before it got going last year. So there was a lot of toing and froing with councils and committees.
And it's been a forced change, hasn't it, by the council, because there's a new road gone in, or going in, therefore cutting across part of Stover's first few holes and up by the main clubhouse there. So you've been forced to make these changes, acquire the land, or did you already have the land?
The council purchased the land.
Oh, right, okay.
And then they paid for the build for these holes.
Yeah.
And then once all the changes are done, then they'll carry on with the road building. So that's probably a year and a half away for them to get going on the road again.
Well, off he goes there.
Yeah, that'll keep him busy.
Yeah, just chill out over there for him. So I've brought you to the front left corner of the first green, or your second hole's green here, the new green.
Yeah.
Because this was the spot I thought, oh, that's a bit of a nasty little pin if you get it tucked in there.
Oh, this bit here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, it's amazing how, when I saw it before, it was really quite flat. And now it's kind of just sliding down towards me a little bit.
Yeah.
You're going to see that? Are you going to see a bit of that sort of stuff happening, like a bit of change in the...
I guess it will settle. Yeah, there will be a bit of movement still, but for the most part, it shouldn't move. It shouldn't move too much.
No.
I was mindful of making easy pins today because.
Yeah, well, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wanted them to
just get them into position. Yeah. That is pretty tidy. Running at about 9-10 on the stim meter.
Yeah, about 9.5 out of.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit quicker, obviously being downhill.
Yeah.
And then how different are these greens going to play for the members when they come out here in, what, 5 days' time?
Yeah, I mean, pace-wise, they'll probably be quite comparable because the greens on the old bit at the moment are quite good.
Are they?
Like sort of stimped them yesterday, like 10.
Yeah.
But to look at, they'll be like different, and they're just, these are just so smooth, and because it's one type of grass, it's all the same height. You know, you get different greens with different grasses on, so they all have a little bit of a different growing pattern. So if you play later in the day, you might see a little bit more bumpiness on the older greens.
Second hole, we've just like walked up there then, around 300 yards.
Yeah. So
an opportunity for possibly the bigger boys to have a little go at that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of a risk and reward hole really. There's space to kind of take it over.
Out of bounds, hugging the left though, and then littered with traps.
Yeah, but it's not the hardest of second holes. So it's the way the architect wanted to open the course really, like make it easy into it before you get to the third hole. And the third hole is, well,
this
hard.
is it.
Yeah, stroke 2.
Would you say that this is your, out of all the holes that you've built now, would you say that this is possibly your favourite? Visually.
Visually, the second shot's pretty scary.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of room to bail out left or right. I don't know. I think the par 5's visually the one that's going to stand out to everybody's memory when they play the golf course.
Water down the left-hand side as it wraps around that and then works its way up to another sort of stream up towards the green.
Yeah, I think visually that's probably the one. But this is a good hole, and this is into prevailing wind. slightly uphill second shot is going to be a tough.
Yeah, it really is.
Tough ask.
Yeah, visually it's just a stunning looking hole.
Yeah, I think the third hole here reminds me a bit of St Mellion with a sort of mounding around the green.
Yeah, kind of almost like built like a bit of an amphitheatre. But what I like is the second shot, ball below your feet, asks for almost for the right-handed golfer for that little fade up the left and let it move back in.
Yeah.
Off those bunkers. And actually
avoiding the double cross.
Avoiding the out of bounds double cross down the left. Yeah. When you look at the flow of water coming in here, you wonder why there's a hosepipe ban in Devon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is constant. This water just flows all year round.
Like in the drought last year, it's still flowing. So that feeds the big lake.
Matt, you harvest that water?
No, it just goes into the big lake and then is aesthetics really.
Oh really?
We were originally going to use it for irrigation water, but then they changed their mind and just left it alone really. So I mean, it's there in the future if we want to use it.
Yeah.
We'll find a way to harvest it, but no, it's never going to run out. I don't think it's always flowing.
Never going to run out. Right, how's the short game?
Usual. Pretty good. Can we edit that?
I think we're going to have to.
And my chipping's been a bit off actually.
Has it?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, let's try that again. He was just so nervous about taking a divot, that's what it was.
Yeah,
thought he'd catch it nice and clean.
That was a bit fat as well.
Reaction of the greens, expecting them to react just like the old greens?
Yeah, they should. There's a bit of giving them, so they'll get a little bit of check on them when they first land and then release.
How nervous are you when it comes to delivering a new product like this? Do you feel a bit anxious when you're sort of speaking to people, and then when people come out and play it for the first time? How does it make you feel?
I wasn't so anxious about the people coming out. It was more like I was anxious myself because like back in February we got like quite a lot of disease, and I was looking at them and going, oh God, this is a nightmare. And then, you know, as soon as it started growing, they recovered and it's all right. And I've been pretty happy with them for the last month really, but it was just whether they putted fast enough. But it's one of those things, because we didn't have anybody playing on, we weren't mowing them every day, we're mowing them every other day. And now people are going to be playing them soon. We're starting to up the regime on a bit now, so we're cutting them and rolling them, and they're all, the speed's quickly coming to them now. So I mean, today they are like 9.5 without really doing a whole lot to them. So I mean, if we went to town and had a week of preparation on, they could probably get it quite quick. Okay, wandering up to what will become the fourth hole, which is a par 3. This is probably, Jace, this is my favourite, I think, out of all the holes that you have created. It's a nice little hole. It's not massively long, it's only about 150, but it's tricky. You know, the green's pretty slopey. We saw that in earlier videos, didn't we? Yeah, and actually now that you've got plenty of grass on it, it feels actually quite generous. Like I thought it was going to be like really tight in there, but actually that maybe because the pin is on that front portion right in the centre, you've put it there, it just feels like there's a bit of space there for it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know it all sort of banks in as well, which is quite nice. Yeah, a back right pin is brutal. It wouldn't be very fun. Absolutely brutal. And there's you can't see it, but there's water right of the green as well. Yeah. Yeah. Should we skip this hole? Should we skip this? No, we're not going to skip this hole because we're going to have a little nearest the pin. Jason and I, we've got a 7-iron that he's dragged out. Reg is still chirping away over there, but we're going to go and play this hole 7-iron into wind slightly, so nearest the pin, loser buys the beers. Hold on, get that kick in that you want. Let's try and jet. Oh, it's a bit long. Not enough, Jace. So I'm just short right here. Jace has got himself back on a left, so I'm quite happy with that. I mean, I'd take that in an event. More than happy with that. Straight uphill putt, maybe a little out the right. That's working in lovely. Oh, it's a cracking shot. You can have that up and down. So we can see here the undulation. We talked about it. I talked about the great doctor showing himself, which was just on this part here. And as Jace says, you get this into a back pin on the right hand side, and then lurking just over back right, and you get it slightly wrong, you catch this slope just here and you're heading down towards the water. It's actually, even though it's quite a wide green, it's not particularly deep, so clubbing really important on this one. Working then onto the par 5. Trees just taken out. If you remember, there was a discussion when we first came here with you and the designer
talking about whether there should be enough, because that tree line really did pop out a little bit more than that.
Yeah, you couldn't really see the water.
You couldn't at all, no.
No, so we took out probably 5 yards of trees so we could sort of see through to the pond now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you know it's there now.
And actually that's, like, it's really important, isn't it? Because ultimately when you stand here on this tee box, if you don't see that water, it's not quite as visually demanding, I suppose, off the tee, is it? But now you see it, it's there, it's in your eye line.
Yeah.
It makes you think about that shot. That,
Well, it magnetises it a bit.
yeah,
doesn't
it really does.
Because that's like, if you don't know it's there, you probably relax and you get a pretty reasonable shot.
Yeah.
Knowing it's there, like Jarrett's at 2 in there this morning.
Yeah, easily done. And it's probably not, you know, you've got all of Stover to the right hand side, haven't you? Like, there's plenty of space down there, but again, it just gets in your eye line and you start moving that ball right to left and it's in there. Big plantations, Jace.
Yeah.
Like lots of whips that have gone in, so trees that have been planted. How many trees you got planted up around here?
Just in these 4 holes, it's like over 2,000.
Over 2,000, and to me, like, they look quite close. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
What's the plan? And the reason I ask this is because I know at Torquay, where we previously were, 35, 40 years ago, when they planted a lot of trees around that golf course, and to be fair, and Churston did it, planted all these trees, these whips go in, trees really grow up, but the ultimate goal is to take out a number of those trees to allow the other trees to flourish and grow.
Every so often, every sort of 3 to 5 years, you'd kind of go through and audit them and take out what's not growing so well and leave the healthier ones and keep doing that regularly. What the mistakes done previously at Torquay and other courses is they don't do it, and then they all grow too close to each other, and then they're all competing for every drop of light and nutrient, and they just grow funny shapes and they grow too tall too quickly because they're all striving for the light and they all go up too high and they're not very strong trees and they haven't developed properly. So.
Yeah, and how does that work? Because ultimately, you know, the baton gets passed on, doesn't it, over the years, from greenkeeper to greenkeeper or board member to board member. Do you document of what is kind of happening and how that's going to work, just to make sure that the members and everyone are fully aware?
Every course should have a course policy document, which that is the kind of baton that gets passed to the next guy as to what you're trying to produce. You know, what sort of green speeds you're trying to produce, what kind of level of playability you're trying to produce. You know, is it all year round? Is it just trying to concentrate on good play for the summer? Is it, what kind of golf course are you trying to kind of create out there? And you got that to follow as such. But this would be incorporated into that you know, they were planted in 2023 and review should be undertook in 2026, and then again maybe 2030.
Right, okay.
And then somebody's got that to sort of have a little plant set and know that they should be on the ball, keep that up to date.
Yeah, actually really important.
Well,
hugely important document.
Because, you know, trees are expensive, and if you don't manage them, it's like anything. They just, you know, you end up having to tear them all down and start over to them.
Which nobody wants, do they? Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Let's ride on it, Jace. Cool, I ain't getting inside that. It's another missed green for me, sorry. I can only... It's a small divot.
Yeah.
Something I want to say, which is like, I've been lucky enough recently, certainly, to be travelling a bit and see some tour courses, tour setup, tour events being played on these courses. And when you get to these golf courses and you see where pins are put and things like that, it's almost like these golf courses, everything's been thought about ahead of schedule. The positioning of all the bunkers, and you feel like you're being asked questions off the tee and then you're being asked questions with your second shot. There's nothing just plonked somewhere.
Yeah. No, there's some courses where it's all about the drive and then the second shot's kind of like quite bland, or vice versa. And this is, every sort of shot facing you is quite interesting, where, you know, the second shot, you know, when you're laying up half time, sometimes it's just a bland shot, but you've got a bunker to miss, a ditch to miss, got to get the right yardage.
That's exactly what it feels like when I wander around here, and even where the pins are positioned, you know, every slope around the green, it's like every slope, and maybe because it's brand new, that every slope has been designed with a pin to tuck behind it or just short of it or whatnot. Nothing's been not looked at, shall we say, with each part of this golf course as it is right now.
There's plenty of pin positions, which is good. everything's quite generous. The fairways aren't narrow.
Yeah.
It's, you know, bunkers are a bit large, maybe.
They are big, but then there's some big bunkers out on the golf course, isn't there, around Stover?
Yeah.
So it just probably
Most
is in
greenkeepers
keeping.
don't. Yeah, most greenkeepers don't like bunkers.
No, I bet you don't. But at least these ones drain through quite nicely.
Yeah, they
and
do.
You're not
They-
left with
yeah.
you know, washouts and stuff like that. You should be.
They're not solid mud.
No, absolutely right. You must be very, very happy, Jace.
Yeah, no, it's been a nice project to be involved in. It's obviously still not even halfway yet.
Yeah.
Lots to go still, but good team working with.
Yeah.
Members here have been really, really supportive about everything going on. They've been really enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Committee members have been good and supportive as well, and you know, it makes a big difference.
It makes a massive difference.
'cause you-
Morale more than anything.
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Well, what about that then? Absolutely fantastic to see it kind of all unfold from the beginning to where it's got to now. It's a real art. It's a massive art. I know there's a lot of people involved in being able to create something like that, and I hope you've enjoyed the journey. The journey's not finished because, as Jason said, we're moving on to the next stage, which is then going to be some of the other holes on the other 9 holes of the golf course. But the members are super excited. I've seen a few of them out here today and had a chat with them, and they are super excited to get out onto that golf course. In 5 days' time, they will be getting out there and bedding it in. Well, I hope you like the Sunday morning show for this week. I hope you enjoy the channel for this week. And don't forget, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again on the next show.